All right, here we are with Fellowship, Star Wars Pitch Black, Season 2, Episode 2, Scars and Prophecy. I am Devin, the framework playing the Lord Marshal Overlord, and here today we have...
Stephanie playing 411KM, aka Kim, a droid using the error playbook.
Peter as Shiny Pig, the Nelvaan Force Mystic, the Ogre.
Ian playing Sicarius, a Harch, the Spider playbook.
All right, gang, let's... Oh, and we're in July 2021. So, gang, can we recap what happened last episode?
We went to Hoth, yet again, to drop off the stellar intelligence.
That's right, we met the giant aliens.
Yeah, they told us they're from the past, but not really, because they're time weird, and so
they're in the
they're
past.
Talking to us. Yeah, they're in the past, but talking to us
In real
time.
So time weird.
So yeah,
Time Lords. A Chrono.
They're more like the great race of Yith from the mythos, where they're actually like a protagonistic force for investigators, even though they're weird and alien.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a cool thing. It's one of the few helpful, weird, mythic outsider creatures. Like they actually, try to give humanity a leg up, even though they went extinct billions of years ago.
Oh, and we talked to Admiral Trench.
Yes, you did talk to Trench. You had a meeting with him to try and negotiate some sort of resolution to this war.
Yes.
Did he have terms for you?
Great. Yes, he wanted the head of Maul.
He didn't want the head of Maul. Oh my god. This is why people don't trust you to carry out tasks.
I mean,
Sicarius.
In our games, that would work though. So, just put in a droid body.
No, he wanted Maul so he could torture information out of him.
He wanted to interrogate Maul, and he had a Dathomir witch on the payroll to help with that. He didn't want to torture Maul, but he definitely will torture Maul if Maul forces him to do that by not cooperating, which is how Trench and every torturer justifies it if they're not just sadists.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You're making me do this.
This is gonna hurt you more than it's hurting me.
All right.
Oh wait, no. I had that wrong. This is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. That's it.
You found out that you have to head to Nelvaan to uncover an ancient rune and see if the Zepho left behind an artifact for you to help you win against your unnatural and inhospitable enemies. Which means you get to go back to Shining Peak's home. As the ship is heading on into the solar system and getting ready to go over to the planet, we are going to start off with a long journey. So you're on board the Necromongers, and it has been largely restored since the previous conflict. Bulkheads have been fixed up, the paint's been redone, equipment's been reinstalled. There's still stuff being put together, of course, because it always takes a little bit to fine-tune ships. They're temperamental at best and can be malicious at worst if they're not taken care of properly. So, there's a lot of organizing things.
In Star Wars, it's always something to do with the ships.
Exactly. They're temperamental creatures. Fussy beasts. So there is a lot of the crew moving around, like getting things set up or like reinstalling tech or updating, hardware to make sure that it's tuned to the ship and the crew that you guys are. Everyone likes to make their ship their own. But yeah, you hurtle through the void of space, your engine's humming along, and we cut you inside the Necromongers, where, Steph or Ian, which one of you would like to go first?
I can start.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, Sicarius, what are you doing aboard the Necromongers? It's just, you guys are getting ready within the next day to land on on Nelvaan and meet Shining Peaks' people. What's your routine?
Sicarius is... his routine would probably be going around checking that all his spiders are doing good. standard
Yeah.
caretaker sort of stuff like that.
Taking care of the colony.
And then I think somehow technically I am the the gunner on board. So
no.
he'll go around and clean all the ship's weapons and make sure they're in working order and proper, because that's, an important job. And then, just kind of doing whatever else he feels like. He's, not huge into routines other than the general maintenance and upkeep, but yeah.
Okay, so the spider colonies are going just fine. They're all happy. I know you have a colony that technically are the cooks or something? Who did you assigned a spider colony as a crew member, and it was the quartermaster.
They're the quartermaster, yeah.
So when you go into the stock room, where all of the resources are being held, it's covered in spiders. They're moving things around, shelving things, taking care of all that. So Amazing. There's a lot of resource containers covered in spider webs, a lot of bigger, more intelligent spiders. The ones that are kind of have crow and above intelligence are getting the rest of the colony to kind of put things in order. They're checking off panels on touchpads to make sure that you guys have a list to restock when you guys land the ship and whatnot. As you're basically hanging out with you have crow octopus level intelligent spiders that are all a part of this colony that can communicate with you and have spider language basically. So as you're walking to one of the stock rooms, you hear a gunshot go off behind one of the doors.
Okay.
What do? It's a blaster shot.
I'm going to throw the door open but not go in immediately and just kind of wait to see what happens, and then
Jedi Master
start
Rudwar Gee collapses into your many arms, 2 smoking blaster holes in his torso. Krell Duran, your navigator, is standing there with a blaster in his hand, clearly smoking, and is looking at you. What's your next move?
Wait, that's the guy who was a Necrobor guy, right?
Yeah.
A Necromonger.
Necromonger?
Yeah.
What is going on here? What
is that your action?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just
this
shocked.
Isn't as bad as it looks.
Drop the weepon?
He drops the weapon. No, he drops the weapon. No. Look, it's not as bad as it looks. Check. And he's look. He's trying to get you to look away from him and look down at your arms.
No, I'm not going to look away from him.
No,
I'm going to get one of the spiders.
Just look.
Okay, I'll look.
You're holding nobody.
What? I'll look back at him.
Are we good? Can we talk this out? I can explain.
What the heck just happened? How? I was holding someone.
I was just helping Master Rudwar with training. Look, we'll go talk. Can we just go to his room?
Yes, we can go to his room.
Maybe we should meet Steph first, though.
Meet Steph first? Why?
Mute Steph with all the noises.
I was wondering.
Oh yeah. There's like a clicking sound every once in a while from her mic. I don't know what that is. But yeah. So yeah, you take what's his name, Krell Duran, and you head to Rudwar's quarters. When you open it, Rudwar is already getting up from his bed, basically fumbling with a necklace he has. Oh, and he's not wearing his robes. You can see his torso. He has 2 spots that look like not aggressive, very light, very casual sunburns where those gut wounds were.
Are you okay, Master Rudwar?
Good morning, Sicarius. How are you today?
It's been an interesting morning so far. You got shot.
How real did that feel to you?
Pretty real.
Was it Krell?
I mean, I feel like I felt weight.
Good. Krell, he looks at Krell with his, tired, stalked eyes. Krell looks back. I mean, it looked really real when I shot you. It looked like you died. Oh man, that was a lot. And then he's like, all right, well, at least it's better than the last time. I'm sorry, you stumbled into a bit of training. I was working on a technique I had sharpened up in my time in my cell.
some kind of hologram technology?
If that's how you want to imagine it, yes. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Just nods. That is an excellent way for you
Just-
to internalize that.
I'm going to make a little sign so no one else has to deal with this. And then you can put the sign up when you train.
Tell me, Sicarius, while you're here, how do you feel this conflict with your brother is going to turn out?
I mean, we've definitely had our disagreements in the past, so I feel like it'll all work out okay. We always end up, we'll fight a little bit here and there, but it always works out.
He gets up and like adjusts like the sort of leg brace he has on still, and sort of gets his robe on and starts looking out the window while you guys are talking. There's a very good possibility that the relationship you have with your brother is going to be leveraged against you. I know that family is important and loyalty is something you value, but your brother's chosen his side. There's a very good chance he might not be able to be saved. And there's a wildness in his actions.
Sides are... the word side implies... It's more of a spectrum. You know? You can slide along it as need be. And
perhaps.
My brother and I have done it many a times.
One of the generals I talked to, or one of the other knights I talked to, he has a more black and white point of view about these things. And he often, when I've talked to him at least, pushed that the nature of this conflict and the forces involved have made the stakes so high that if you're not defending the Republic, and if you're choosing to act against it for even your own selfish interests, even if you don't believe in the separatists, then you're essentially siding against democracy itself. What do you think about that in regards to your brother? He doesn't seem the most moral person.
Again, morality is a loose term at times. I agree that there is a overall morality, but again, the idea of just everything being black and white, cut and dry, no. The world's much more complex than that. I mean, look at this situation now. My brother has clearly shown us that there's something going on both sides of this argument. And we also have the Necromonger horde. The Necromonger horde, there's something going on there. So it's not even black and white, because we have three parties going on here. And
do you believe that there's an argument for both sides for the Necromongers? That they have a right to engage in their campaign of their crusade against life?
Not so much, no. I do think
but there is for the separatists who are waging a war against, well, freedom.
I don't know. I mean, I make money on both sides. I've never really thought too deeply on their point of view.
It's an interesting perspective. It puts forward that life, even in captivity, is more it's more agreeable to allow life to continue in captivity than it is for it to be extinguished, I suppose. It makes the case that slavery is better than death.
Now that gets into some interesting discussions.
What do you think is going to happen to your brother, Trench, when this war is over and the Republic prevails? He's committed crimes against sapience, like actual chargeable war crimes, the type that doesn't really let you go. Are you sparing your brother his one last conquest, where he can go out a brilliant general and reveal a conspiracy and die with honor, so that he doesn't spend the rest of his life shackled? Is slavery more valuable than death?
I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That bridge is coming very fast, my friend, and I don't mean to pressure you and I don't mean to upset you, but You must contemplate that there will be consequences for all of our actions at the end of this. We're all going to get exactly what we deserve if we prevail.
And should my brother help us with some insider knowledge, then perhaps his actions will show redeeming factors.
Trench has
say,
burned
we will
worlds.
See... Yes, well, so has the Republic.
The Republic will be on top at the end of this conflict, my friend. I don't speak much to the politics of the Senate. They are vast and unwieldy, and it's a serpent whose heads you can never see all the directions they're in. There's a type of animal like that on Naboo where I come from. It's a water hydra of sorts. The Senate is like that. It doesn't matter if it's trying to be... if it's being compromised by other aspects within it. It's still going to be the victor at the end of this, and it's still going to look down with all of its heads, even the ones that might have been less than forthcoming. They'll all be connected to the same body, and that body will continue on for its survival and its best interests. And allowing Trench to go unpunished will not be in the Senate's best interests. Even the most fervent Separatist supporters will not make an excuse for someone like him. I almost wish he wasn't as decorated, because I can see an absolute amount of pain coming your way, a suffering. And it just doesn't seem fair with all the help you've given us.
Well, as I say, unfortunately, that is the life my brother chose and the life I have chose, and we will have to see what comes of it when the time comes.
Contemplate whether your brother truly is looking to resolve this Phantom Menace conspiracy, or if he's simply looking for an early out. Do with that information what you will, if you find the answer.
Thank you.
He goes back out the window and is playing around with that necklace. That necklace are those 2 lightsaber crystals built into that tech that have been shined up and put into an inset, and he holds on to it when he's concentrating now. That's what he's turned him and Tora's lightsaber crystals into, a sort of amulet.
That's the one that was holding his kind of astral projection body together.
Yeah,
while he was in the sill. Yeah,
he had them in the projection's ears to help keep it together.
Yeah.
It looks
Very
like he's
cool.
pushing that technique a little bit further into something else.
Interesting. Yeah, Sicarius is definitely going to make a little sign being warning, training going on, or advanced hologram technology or something.
Jedi bullshit happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
Just put up the sign.
As you're leaving, Rudwar's talking to Krell. It's all right, I'm going to come at you with my weapon this time. See if it actually connects. And Krell kind of nods and gets out like a metal pole and goes back into the room to wait.
Wow. Okay, I don't envy his job right now.
I don't think his projections can cause harm unless they have an actual real weapon, but he's testing to see if he can spook someone well enough with a hologram lightsaber or something.
Fair enough.
Or if he can just pick up a weapon while astral projecting and have that weapon come at someone. They're experimenting. He's checking out a technique. He's working through his problems by training.
Boy, that becomes super strong if you're I'm going to just astral project over here, pick up a weapon, and charge the enemy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that might be a problem if someone picks that tech up.
That's... Yeah, don't be sharing this around.
All right. If you want to forge a bond with anyone that was in that scene, including your little spiders, that is an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'll forge a bond with my spiders and with Rudwar.
Awesome. All right, Steph, we're going to swing the spotlight then to you. So, 401KM, you're the captain of the ship. It's being put back together. You guys are on your way to Nelvaan. You got, under a day's travel ahead of you. What is your day looking like? What's your routine? What are you doing now that you guys are getting ready for a big mission?
Well, I'm basically kind of supervising the ship rebuilding, making sure everyone's doing their job well. making sure that everybody's, safe and comfortable and doing what they're supposed to, and also going through all of the information that Trench dumped on us about the Phantom Menace.
It's a complex conspiracy he's spun out, and there's a lot of supporting evidence from the various factions you've had to add to it.
Right. So, that's kind of what I'm doing.
Correct. Or it's upsettingly plausible.
Right. So going through that and calculating the probability of him being a paranoid schizophrenic versus a genuine conspiracy.
There is a fairly high percentage that Admiral Trench is having a existential crisis, or some sort of midlife crisis, or some sort of like sadistic general "we're going to lose the war" breakdown. You don't know, but it's there. It's likely, but a lot of this evidence matches up. Like even the fact that Rudwar used to be the apprentice of Count Dooku, who used to work with Sifo Dyas, who's the Jedi Master who went missing, who commissioned the clones from the Kaminoans using his own accounts and funds that he slush funded from the Republic and the Jedi Council. Like that's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot for 6 degrees of separation.
Right.
And then Count Dooku went to spin off his own army out of the Republic, and they have their own version of clone troopers that are just robots. Yeah.
Right.
6 degrees of trench. Good one, Pete. So the ship is being maintained. This is probably like at a different time than when Ian's stuff was happening. So like you see Krell moving around the ship, like patching consoles or putting diagnostic tools in. Every once in a while, he'll call down a hallway because on the other end of it, with another diagnostic tool, is the Republican. So he's like looking down the hallway. They're going back and forth, and he's not doing it right. And his arm's like grabbing his hand and making him plug into the right port and like use the right tool on the pad. It's that same kind of thing happening, but you just walk right past them as it's going on. Eventually, though, you'll run into your war droid, Death's Head's Panoply. He's in one of the cargo bays right now, and Tora's like sitting on a bench in front of him while he's standing with diagnostic tools, like prying into his chassis and like making connections and stuff, and like with database tools on hand. And she basically has a toolkit in front of her and is just doing maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, do you want to be in that scene with them? Because they're going over stuff, it looks like.
Sure.
All right. Bip, come on into the scene. The two of them are there working away with like just tools and diagnostic terminals in front of them.
Are they working on the ship or are they working on the droid?
The droid.
Okay. I asked her if she needs any help.
Actually, yes. You're an older model droid. You might actually help me bridge the gap with some of the problems I'm having here. There's data stuck inside this thing, but all of the standards are completely out of date to what I'm familiar with. I don't know how to get to it, and I'm afraid that if I try to pull it, I might corrupt whatever's left behind. This droid's been wiped a lot of times, but there's not really any efficiency in it. So there's all these ghost images I keep finding in the programming.
Interesting. And it looks like that his hardware has been patched and repatched several times. I recognize some dicrystal diodes here, but I don't recognize a lot of this hardware.
Some of it looks like it's not built for function, but built for ritual. Like, there's a lot of parts inside that don't seem to do anything, but when powers run through them, they either make an appropriate instrumental noise, or they're meant to interface or open up to like better be part of the background, like artwork. So it's a needle in a haystack here, finding actual service ports or actual components that I need to be repairing and things I can gloss over. And he isn't any help. Deathhead just kind of looks down at both of you, not saying anything.
Death's Head Panoply, what are these circuits here for?
Tora goes, one moment, and she like takes a tool and like plugs it into his chest cavity and makes a twisting motion. You hear a click as his voice box comes back online. Hello there, my liege. How may I assist you today?
I would like some information about you. I was curious about some of your hardware.
I am more than happy to provide that, my master, now that this traitorous Jedi scum has re-enabled my glorious speech.
Would you explain what these circuits here are for that don't seem to serve a purpose?
They are my loyalty inhibitors. They inhibit my loyalty.
I see. So these circuits here are to create loyalty in those that you swear service to.
It enhances and inhibits the process. If I were ever to lose myself or my purpose, these circuits would reinforce the glory of the Holy Tyrant, the Sith Lord of the Empire. Blessed be to his divine presence.
I see. And it seems... And would you object to making some recordings of your past hardware?
I cannot refuse, for I am your property, for all are in service to his glorious presence.
Well, so that is a yes?
He doesn't answer that, because he feels he already did.
That's fair. How would you bridge the gap between our current technology and your hardware here?
Servants of the Holy Tyrant were often subjected to modifications, upgrades, and streamlining at one of the glorious factories for the war effort. If we were to find a servitor complex, we would most likely be able to adapt the technology there to get what you need from me. You could take the information instead of having to tease it out.
I see. What are you trying to find, Tora?
I just need to know more about this sector. If he's as old as he says he is, and he is, gesturing at him, then there's a bunch of connective tissue that we can establish between whatever the Sith Empire was doing on Korriban before their fall and what happened to it since, especially if he was in space. That means he's picked up telemetry, maybe even starships and machinery that's gone by. If I can even pull out something from the event horizon arriving in orbit, if he happened to capture it, it would help put some of these details into context, especially what the Lord Marshal might be looking for. He's digging up old things, and this thing is old, so it might have context for us.
It seems to recognize me as a liege, so perhaps I could just ask it.
Well, you gave me an idea. If there's some sort of maintenance facility, it might still be in here somewhere. I think I might know where to look for it. So she's going to do some diagnostics, and now that you've kind of talked it over with him, she'll probably start pulling out a location, which you can have, Steph, that if you ever want, you can set an adventure to go over there and maybe do a little more digging and find a little more details about the Sith Empire. And yes, I know there's a train in the background. I can hear that. So, no big deal.
Yeah. I'm trying to mute myself and talk at the same time.
For sure.
Oh, neat. Alright, so I will put that on my character sheet just as a note.
A servitor complex. Yeah, there is one here in the system, in the Strait of Messina. There's one that's it's actually in one of the outer range orbits of the sisters, the twin black holes. So a lot of its signals and its location would be masked.
So in the orbit of the sisters, we have some sort of colony of the Jedi and also some factory cathedral of the Sith.
Yeah, it still has like a general droid running it and stuff, but they don't really do anything because there's nothing that they can do. The Strait of Messina was probably originally colonized by the Sith because of the Ghost Hand and the Zepho ship crashing through it into those black holes, or maybe creating those black holes, and leaving like a lot of dark side debris and like supernatural twistedness from the Kandarian demons hosting up in here. That's probably what originally attracted them to the area.
Okay. And
some sort of cosmic pilgrimage.
Are me and Tora able to get any information out of Death's Head?
What
Besides
kind
the servitor
of
look.
what kind of skills and moves do you got, Steph? Do you got anything that would help you leverage this? Do you feel?
Leverage.
Look closely, speak softly.
Yeah,
I was
I've got
thinking if it
those.
wasn't custom moves, we'd go back to those. I was just seeing if there's anything in the what do you call it? The air that could have been used here. But yeah, why don't you look closely?
Okay. Well, I also have
So that's
Yes,
roll
My
the
Liege.
Yes, my liege. Let me go to 401km.
You never need to talk sense to someone who is below your rank.
Oh,
and when
shit. Okay. You're not talking sense to him because he's not trying to hide anything from you. This is legitimate. Like, he has like ghost impressions of previous lives, slipping around inside his hardware. So this is going to be look closely to kind of figure out something about him.
1 second. And I need 2d6.
That's right.
All right. I got a 7.
Okay, you get 3 questions from the list below, and one of them you'll find the hard way. So Tora will set up a diagnostic terminal and run some cable from Death's Head to you, so you can kind of try and patch into the data a bit. You can ask 3 questions about, I don't know, something about his past life before you found him stranded and crucified onto a piece of debris orbiting Korriban.
What were the Sith doing on Korriban?
Okay, let's go through all 3 and then I'll answer them in whatever order makes
see.
sense.
Does he know anything about the event horizon?
That's a good one.
And if he knows anything about the Necromongers, like from the time of the Sith.
Okay, the Necromongers he wouldn't know about because they're new. They only exist because the Lord Marshal here in modern times made them. They didn't exist beforehand. They're wholly new and fabricated. So you could substitute that for different
questions.
Okay. Well, then a different third question because my character would know that.
Exactly.
Crap.
Who's asking about the Kandarian demons?
Yeah,
and
ask about.
If you want, I could throw you a curveball for a question you might not be thinking of that would be really cool for your character.
Okay.
A question I would ask if I was a character like yours, who's like, this ancient droid is, have we ever met before?
Ooh, yeah, that is a good question.
There we go. All right,
those will be my 3 questions.
Have we met before? Have you do anything with the event horizon? What were the Sith doing on Korriban? So you'll go through 3 sort of basic memories. What were the Sith doing on Korriban? You get a brief vision from the perspective of Death Head's like field of view and HUD, like what his world looks like, and his world is fire and orange. The way he sees everything is in red ray tracing, like 3D modeling with like orange heat maps and infravision over top of it. He sees the world as if it's burning. And whenever he sees like symbols or whatnot, it translates out into Sith, and the Sith language looks dangerous and violent. So, Predator and Terminator vision mixed together with the middle of his frame, the middle of his vision at all times has a transparent logo on it, like a crosshair, that is the personal Mons of the Sith Emperor, the Divine Tyrant. So the first thing he sees at all times is a reminder that he's property. On Korriban, you can see him like walking among other droids that look like them, and they look probably what he originally was built to look like, in bright red, black, and gold ceramics with like a cape and flowing battle armor over top of him, carrying pikes and tridents in single file. He's staring straight ahead, and there are thousands of him marching in like a giant battle formation across the moon of Korriban as ships fly overhead, fighting each other. When they reach their enemies, as they kind of crash on down from the sky on giant machine dinosaurs, you see them going to war with the Mandalorians who are trying to invade. Like, it's them versus ancient Mandalorian warriors.
Interesting. Interesting. So they were fighting Mandalorians over Korriban, more or less.
It looks like from the buildings that he's running through and fighting through that Korriban at the time was occupied by the Mandalorians. And you actually get to see specific glimpses and scans of heraldry.
Interesting.
Which match the Mandalorians you met on Hoth. Not the good ones, the ones that you loved, the ones that tried to kill you. The Garzamboza addicts, because their personal crest is based off the crest of their Mandalore, Mandalore the Conqueror. And it looks like these droids are fighting that Mandalore.
Okay.
So that's a brief into what was going on Korriban back in the day.
Okay.
The next one was, does he know anything about the event horizon? Right? So for the event horizon, you get a sense that he's nailed to that hardware, like the piece of ship debris in orbit around Korriban, and this is just by fluke. His orbital rotation came into the same kind of crossover with the event horizons. It's already smashed up in an orbit. You can't really get a sense of time unless you like run his images through star charts. And you see a ship docking with the event horizon, and it looks Republic. It even looks modern within the last decade or two. And it docks in with the event horizon, and then eventually it de-docks and leaves.
Interesting. Okay.
And have we met before? You're pretty old, right, Steph? Like you might actually go back to the Empire.
Years old. Possibly, yeah.
Well, the Empire was 1,000 years
why
old.
not?
I think we were playing with the idea that you were Methuselan, that you blip in and out of current events. So this vision takes place on in his databanks. You understand these things as if you were thinking like him. So you don't see the planet and think, this is Coruscant, the Sea of the Republic. What you see as, this is Fortress World Coruscant, and this is the Day of Darkness, when the Sith came on in and killed the Jedi generals that were left behind here because there was a crusade going on in the darkness of space. You know all this. You've never heard of this before, but it's an orbital drop as he drops onto two Jedi Padawans with a trident that's, a vibro trident, and just goes through them and kicks them off into the depths of Coruscant below, while a bunch of other droids like him land down, and all their ceramics broken, and they look patched up, and they're nodding to each other and are making hand signs as a red blade drops in behind them. Heavily cybernetically enhanced. They look like they were human, pale skin, yellow eyes. They look like the scary ones, the ones that are from myth, the ones that look like they're demons, basically. And the troop of them go through this temple, kicking through doors, fighting people, taking care of security staff that aren't handled to deal with this. And for a brief moment, one of the rooms is barricaded and has a ray shield, which are fairly hard to break. The Sith puts his hand to the ray shield and just forces a lot of effort into it. And that whole wall melts and twists open, but the ray shield stays. And you can see inside the room, there is a woman. She looks like she is clearly a Jedi of some sort. She's missing one of her arms and has patchwork repairs done to her. Like, it looks like she's been trying to be held together. And you're right beside her with a weapon primed at the door, waiting to see if they're going to keep trying. When you get the facial recognition for the person who is injured, she is the spitting image of Torah.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
And that droid, the Jedi, the red blade's it's not worth our time, and they keep moving on. Eventually they head to the Jedi Council chamber and get into a fight with a Jedi Master there, and the red blade wins. It's pretty savage, actually. He in the middle of the fight, he has his lightsaber out and pulls out a unfolding vibro sword and guts that master, kicks them out of the window into the Coruscant below, and actually takes out, slams his sword into the ground, and it turns into a flag. And your memory cuts out.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I share this with Torah.
So she was similar to me. That's not surprising. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. That makes sense. She just kind of rolls her eyes. That's just how the Force works. I'm not really that worried about it. But that makes this droid exceptionally ancient. Wait, did you describe the ship on the event horizon to her?
I did.
She runs that through a database and then goes to Rubar's room and comes back with his notes and runs it through. And I thought that I thought that sounded familiar. That was a light sailor. She brings up the light sailor model. That was Count Dooku's personal yacht.
Interesting. Does Rudwar have any idea what Count Dooku would be doing in this sector? Never mind.
Originally, well, that's how I was adopted by the Jedi, was Dooku and Rudwar coming here originally. I was an orphan. I was from around here. They found me. I was on Lasat, the Given Homeworld for a while, all around, and it was Rudwar and Dooku coming in here to do a mission that they found me and realized I belonged at the temple and took me. They were here for a weird mission, though. They were trying to get information about Korriban from the local polities here. It was a no-go zone. She gestures to the war droid, clear reasons.
Right. Naturally.
No one wants anything on Korriban to get out.
Even Korriban, it seems.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. I thought Korriban always was their prison. Why would they be fighting to take it back if it was occupied? That doesn't make a lot of military sense.
No, it does not.
There has to be context we're missing, which is unfortunate. I bet you if we get this droid into a maintenance bay, we could try to do a data retrieval and pull out any of those, anything that's been left behind by previous rewipes.
It would probably have much more information on Korriban, being part of the Sith Empire at the time.
Yeah, if there's any administrative terminals left in there, we could actually pull whole records out.
Indeed.
And if the Lord Marshal's pulling ancient things out of this sector, we might get ahead of the installation. We might be able to start tracking stuff down before he knows about it.
The Sith probably would have records of ancient artifacts in the sector. Yes, that's true. That's very true.
Interesting. We're going to have to find time to get to that installation then and work on your bodyguard. And
all right.
Yeah. You could add another bond to Tora and your droid if you want. You could ask your droid about the Sith Empire. He knows about it.
Yeah, I'll ask him about the Sith Empire.
The Sith Empire, as he tells it, was a perfectly evolved society. It was the apex predator of civilizations. It had ultimate power, ultimate authority, and the right to have both of those and to rule every other life in the galaxy because it was run by the Holy Tyrant, the perfect being who could rule all of us and take away the burden of choice and make up our minds for us while also protecting us from danger.
Okay.
This philosophy extended to every aspect of the Sith Empire where, freedom is what, the Force will set you free, but the only way to get that freedom is through voluntarily, chaining yourself to the Holy Tyrant. Because you can't resist him anyway, and trying to resist it will only destroy you. He really slammed against what a lot of later people would talk about Sith teachings, where, there's only going to be two, and you can't have big organizations, and they're all infighting. He seemed to have some sort of hold on the whole Empire that made them work together. Vast amounts of droids, vast amounts of automation, an ever-expanding area of influence, and he was constantly running up against the Republic and making headway. The only reason it seems the Empire ever stopped advancing was because a third threat came in from outside the galaxy that took both of their attention. And for the Sith Empire and the Republic had to align, and that cost both of them the war. It was generations before either side was able to start fighting each other again. And when that fight happened, it wiped out the Sith Empire. The Sith, in one of the climactic battles that this droid basically was getting ready for when it was sidelined, one of the climactic battles of that fight was they launched a super weapon against one of the core Jedi holding worlds, but all of the Sith leadership was there, including the Holy Tyrant, and none of them survived. it devastated both sides and destroyed all their cultural knowledge because all of their experts and lore keepers and cultural heroes went out in the blink of an eye.
So the Sith basically suicided themselves and all of their leaders.
It looks like that's how that final battle went down from the records you're able to hear, and like the Sith technology doesn't allow them to admit the Holy Tyrant has died. So even though he's perished, it's still, his will is eternal. Like, the Holy Tyrant can't perish. His physical form can change, and he can, through the power of transmutation and transitive energy, become different things. And the shape he has now taken is the undying loyalty in the heart of all of the remnants of his empire. The fact that his droids and machinery still act proves the Holy Tyrant is immortal.
Okay.
So that's a problem. All of this stuff is asleep, waiting to wake up and leave the Strait of Messina, which it can't. This tech can't leave the Strait. It'll be destroyed by the barrier between the two, and that barrier is a permanent thing. It's never going to go away. But yeah, there's just a little slice where old ghosts are still running a war.
Okay, interesting. And a lot of that's centered right around Korriban.
Oh God, you've seen the Holy Tyrant symbol from the memory. You've seen that symbol before.
Oh.
It's a stylized gear with writing you don't understand in it, and you've seen that symbol tattooed on the heads of clone troopers.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's
it's
unusual
part of,
and probably a coincidence.
For people who are not as tuned into Star Wars as whatnot, what I described was the Galactic Empire symbol from Star Wars, which clone troopers in the Star Wars Clone Wars TV series started to get tattooed onto them because it was like a symbol that was being used in the Republic era for the military. It's something that came from Palpatine's personal branding campaigns, basically a way to like unify the Republic like volunteers and officers and the clones and the Jedi together under one banner, one like glorious cog in the machine. The wheel of progress and the wheel of democracy. It's called the wheel of democracy.
Okay.
Well, that's the personal emblem with a little bit of changes done to it of the Sith Holy Tyrant, the Emperor.
All right. Good to know.
So you can have that little bit of hard way. And if you have anything else for the scene, we can keep going. If not, we'll swing the spotlight. Pete, you were saying you wanted to have a session with Tora, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that she has a lot to work through, so might as well just do something with her.
How would you like that scene to be set? What do you have? What would be most helpful to you?
Well, at the end of that scene, she seemed to be worked out about a lot of things and a lot of anger in her. So we might as well have some sort of, training sparring match so she can just, work out that anger, just, get physical, punch Shining, pick a bunch, because she can take it. She don't care. She's an ogre.
Yeah, all right, sure. So you actually want to spar with her, right?
Pretty much.
All right. Yeah, she'll walk in. She's like, dressed for sparring and has her hands wrapped as they should be. And yeah. So yeah, she'll just approach and be like, "So you want to work something out here, or what are you looking for? Better teamwork? What do you know for fighting?"
Well, I am the Terras Kasi Master.
Oh, you know Terras Kasi?
Well, yes. That, recently met someone that was practicing the arts and learned some from them.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, I know lightsaber forms, and they all have an unarmed component to them, so I'm just going to go through forms 1 to 5. I'll just kind of show you the basics, the footwork, I guess, and you could show me what you know about Terras Kasi. How about that?
Sure thing.
All right. It's going to be very normal sparring. I will let you take the lead on guiding yourself through the scene with Tora. But yeah, a lot of footwork, grapples, holds. A lot of her Jedi lightsaber forms are based on gaining distance or like getting under where you're trying to defend or block, or When she moves up to like Form 5, or I don't remember the official canon for it, but like that's a lot more her being defensive and pushing back and letting you overextend yourself so she can get in at like joints and whatnot. She doesn't really succeed because you're better at combat than her, but you can kind of see where the techniques would be valuable in the field.
Yeah, that's all good, but like the most, well, the goal of this thing is just to have a chat and see what issues she's working through.
Sure. And yeah, that's what you can take the lead on. I just wanted to set up kind of what the fight scene looks like.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm probably like more direct with her, more, strong, I guess, heavy style / strong style, something like that. More direct punches and so on and so on.
Kiryu in beast form?
I guess.
When he uses beast martial arts, that's the one where he's just a big fucking stomp machine and can pick up like tractors to body slam people with them.
Yeah. Like, whatever like the earthbenders from Avatar use, I guess.
Yeah, big wide stances and smashing
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, it's on you. The spotlight is on you.
So, what's the deal with you and Ruduar? There seems to be some bad blood between the two of you.
There's no bad blood between us, she says, and throws off her stance a little.
I guess I take that opportunity to strike in and I've seen how you reacted to finding him after Korriban.
Yeah, I had an outburst. It's fine. It's fine. It happens. I'm not really a knight yet. I'm a Padawan, so it's just, they lie to you all the time. And they don't even admit it. They don't even admit it to themselves. She's getting she's getting sloppier with it too.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just, try to do some onslaught then, to put her back on her toes. And so what were they lying about?
Everything. They always lie to you, and they don't even really know it when they're doing it half the time. They live these lives and they get these ideas in their head about what they're doing out here in the galaxy, and they romanticize sacrifice, and they romanticize pain, and they romanticize denying themselves, and they turn this into this thing where it's everyone else's problem that you're not as committed to be suffering as they are, and they don't even admit they're doing it. So when you finally make a mistake and start to suffer like they are, all of a sudden you've done it wrong now. You're having an outburst. You're unfocused. You're acting irrationally. And they say it, and then they'll do stuff that's 1,000 times more out of line than you've ever done. And as you're doing this, by the way, she's getting more aggressive with her technique. She's switching to another lightsaber form that's not the original 5. It's a different one, and that one focuses a lot more on onslaught as well. She's going to inadvertently throw a cut at you if you don't do something about it.
Well, that's fine. I can take it.
All right. You're not expecting it, but when you're in the middle of the spar, like you're both probably using the Force in various extents, but she actually zeroes out your and her gravity for a moment and uses momentum to get under your leg and like just grabs and delivers a twist to the knee that if you weren't as strong might have dislocated the joint.
Nice.
Take a damage.
Sure thing. I'll damage my grace.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Did that hurt?
Just a little. That's fine. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, you got to learn to walk it off. That's what... Sorry.
Was it one of the other master's technique, the one from the holocron?
It's a little bit of style from Master Skywalker, but there was an opportunity we had when we were Padawans. Master Windu gave a very focused and very limited seminar on some of the techniques he's developed out on the front lines to kind of give you an advantage for unconventional tactical scenarios. And Master Anakin did a follow-up, and Rudor captured some of it on the holocron. And I've been trying to work with it since then. It's supposed to... Apparently, it's based off of some of the more unique assets the CIS is deploying, or if you're going to run into Dooku or his pet Red Blade.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's everyone talks about how you're not supposed to really use it flippantly because it could, lead you down a dark path because it's based on, causing joint issues or moving through defenses and tricking and deceiving your opponent. It's another thing, right? It's just another example where it's like, yeah, here's a tool set to help you, but don't use it too efficiently, or it turns out, you might be getting a liking to it. It's like, no, we're not getting a liking to it. We're just trying to work through this with no resources and no time and no help.
So it's very judgmental. I mean, we're in a war, we're in a fight, you should just go for whatever gives you the win. I mean, you're trying to kill the other person usually, so...
I mean, and that's the other
what's
thing.
the difference?
The CIS and Dooku are picking up red blades that come from the Jedi Temple. There have been 2 other apprentices that have gone over. 3 if you count Pong Krell, but no one does. No one talks about him anymore. We don't talk about Pong Krell enough. He seemed to be in on something. It was a huge problem. And he did that, and what he did to the clones, unforgivable. And no one answers for it. There's been no reparations to the clones for what happened to them under Krell.
Krell? You mean Zevon's boy?
No. There was this Jedi Master, Pong Krell, and he led a campaign on one of his plans against the CIS, and it turns out he wanted to attract Dooku's attention and work together with him. So in his mission, he tricked his clone regiments, which came from a bunch of other Jedi generals that he brought in because he said he needed the numbers, and he tricked them into putting them into a kill box with each other and shoot them in low light conditions. He had the clones turn on each other. If you know anything about them, that's a big thing for them. The damage was unbelievable. The clones don't do well when they are forced to kill their brethren, and it was all a trick, and the Jedi did it, even though it was just Pong Krell, but no one ever did anything about that.
That sounds like a betrayal of trust. I mean, they trust you with their lives.
And they're not... The Republic made them. We're responsible for them.
Yeah, exactly.
They're one of the most wonderful things to come out of this war. They're probably the only good thing to come out of this war. They're an entire people that at the end of this are going to embody the best aspects of the Republic. The Republic is such an enduring system of freedom and democracy in the galaxy. It's so ancient and so old and so regenerating that in our time of need, it, from nothing, ex nihilo, created an entire host of soldiers so men and women and sons and daughters don't have to die in war. They deserve to be treated better than they are.
Wouldn't that just make the people complacent since they didn't have to suffer the war? So they can just continue it?
That's why they need to be honored. They need to be integrated into the Republic as, they need to be treated as well as we treat our garden worlds. Garden worlds, paradise planets, places of rare cultivation and unique life. They're a precious thing that seem to spontaneously manifest from government itself. I don't worry about this clone war. I don't worry about this Phantom Menace. The Republic is such a Goliath. It's such a finely honed and focused institution that it can't fall. It'll always come back. It'll always regenerate. I was talking to 401KM and we were going over droid records in that war droid she has. And that thing was on one of the invasions of Coruscant. And Coruscant still stands as a stronghold of the Republic. It still stands as a beacon of galactic democracy. The Senate doesn't really work at the best of times, but that's because these systems can't work easily. They need to be complex. They need to be weighty because we have to be more active and more careful about how we manage them. It's not supposed to be easy to keep a galaxy under peace and prosperity. If it was easy, we wouldn't have the Sith or the CIS or this Phantom Menace. The reward for this is the work we put in. I'm not worried about losing this war. I'm not worried about dying in this war. The work we do here and the effort the Jedi and the clones do together preserve the galaxy. It's a good life. It's a better life than I would have had in the Strait of Messina. I just wish the Jedi didn't have their heads up their asses so much about this.
So, who's that mole person that seemed to also get under your skin?
He's a terrorist and a butcher. He should have been put down ages ago, but the council seems to be incapable of doing it. He's killed several Jedi, including one of their own. He's conquered a planet. He's caused nothing but chaos and destruction and problems everywhere he's gone. And I told Rudwar not to deal with him anymore.
Well, if you think that he should be put down, well, go always work on that.
It would be righteous. The Jedi Council...
who's going to stop you?
We're so far out, we're the only people who could do it. It's not a matter of stopping us. It's a matter of the fact that it's something the galaxy needs, and we will have no way to get the resources for it out here. We have to make do with what we have, and we have to put a stop to him. And Dooku. I know Rudwar has fondness for his old master, but Dooku has to go up against the wall. He's not going to be... Do you know the damage that will be done if they try him as an ex-Jedi or an ex-Count? He has to be tried as an enemy combatant. He has to be tried as the leader of this faction. They can't protect him just because he used to be a Jedi. That will just destroy everyone's faith in the Order.
That would be an issue, I guess.
He has friends on the council. Yoda was his master. They're going to be fond about him. They'll go soft on him. They go soft on a lot of Jedi. Their pet projects. Skywalker is a good example. We all like Master Skywalker. Or General. She doesn't say Master. She says General Skywalker. But he gets away with things. And no one is chastising him for, taking things too far or losing their focus or losing their centering. Then again, she kind of pauses and looks at you. Have you heard he's the chosen one?
Chosen one for what?
They say that he spontaneously manifested from the Force itself. They say that he's prophesized generations ago to be the chosen one that brings balance to the Force by once and for all destroying the Sith and enshrining the Jedi forever.
Are you sure that's not just more of the Jedi talking, the nonsense and blowing smoke up everywhere?
It's possible, but you got to listen to them talk. They really believe it. They're not deceptive. They're deceptive, but they're not. They're deceptive and they're liars, but they do it to themselves more. And when they talk about it, they seem to really, really believe this stuff. They seem to think it's legitimate. It's something that's coming. It's like water flowing downhill. It's just the natural course of things. Of course he's the chosen one. Of course he'll bring balance to the Force. Of course things will just work out. Why wouldn't they? They're the Jedi and the Force is on their side. It's a complacency.
Sounds and a bit of wish fulfillment, perhaps. They want to have the chosen one, I guess, which means that they will win, and so on and so on.
He gets away with things. I've heard stories from clones. And yeah, you guys are still going through your sparring, I guess. She's getting emotional. She is just speaking her mind. Stuff she doesn't get to talk about.
Yeah, that's the whole point here. To let her communicate, without anyone judging her and so on and so on.
What about you? What's going to happen to you when the war's over? I mean, the Nelvaanians have Force-sensitive children on their planet, and the Strait is going to become part of the Republic again. What's going to happen when the Jedi come up and letting you know that, hey, maybe it's in the best interest if some of you guys come to the temple?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been thinking about that far. I just want this war to end so we can come back and have some peace in our lives.
If you want peace, you can't stop at this war. You have to be prepared to consider the future. There's going to be problems coming after this wraps up. There's going to be no such thing as finally over to the Clone Wars for at least a generation or two afterwards. The scale of it. And the Jedi Council is going to be extremely enthusiastic about spreading the program back out to the Separatist-controlled worlds. And it is a real problem. There are red blades out there that are abducting Force-sensitive children. There's an entire conspiracy that the Jedi Council just dealt with. A bounty hunter broke into the Jedi Temple and stole a holocron.
Okay.
To find Force-sensitive children in the galaxy. Do you not know about this? I guess you don't know about the Jedi program. We have oracles and prophecies and future tellers that can go into the galaxy and find children who might one day become Jedi. And we can track them down and bring them to the temple before they're captured by the enemy.
Well, I think one thing we've got going for ourselves is that we're in such middle of nowhere that nobody comes over here usually.
The Republic's going to come here. The clones or Zevin or Rudwar, someone's going to file a report. It'll be impossible not to. Not with Maul here. If Maul's here, that means this is going to go straight to the Masters. They'll analyze every aspect of this case, and they'll know about you. I'm not saying you're in danger. I'm saying they're going to interfere, and you're going to have to be ready to turn them down if they come here. Or you're going to have to be ready to maybe join the Jedi Order.
Well, not sure. I can only speak for myself and not for my people.
She nods.
I'll leave that to our elders.
It's just you know more about your life now that you're in tune with, however you're in tune with the Force. You might know what... Well, you've seen our lives. Compare your life to our lives and see which one you think the children in your village would want. And then make a choice.
Well, the life over here seems to be more complicated than the life that we used to have on Nelvaan.
Yeah. Yeah, being a Jedi is complicated. Yeah. It means we are de facto agents of the Republic, and we don't like to admit it. And we hide behind this idea that we're neutral third parties, but we're not neutral third parties. We have a vested interest in peace and stability in the galaxy and, like, throwing off the reins of tyranny. You know, like the Sith Empire and their holy tyrant.
If you were not a neutral party...
Yeah, we're not a neutral world. We're not a neutral party. We're part of the Republic. If your people join the Republic, it's going to be assumed you're going to start being part of the Jedi project.
Yeah, if you were a neutral party, half of the Jedi will be in the Separatists.
She kind of makes a right motion. From Tor's point of view, she sees the Jedi absolutely as agents of the state. And, like, she sees the Republic as sort of like a larger-than-life institution that must be preserved at all costs because it's so enduring and because it's the most stable thing. That's her.
Too big to fail.
A little bit, yeah. All right. If you want, you can build a bond with Tora.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So that's going to... Oh, there is one more set. We're at the last part of the long journey. The Overlord side of things. Okay, so I'll just throw this at you guys, and then we'll move on to a scene where you're all together. So we cut to a fleet in space. It's Necromonger ships versus Necromonger ships. One side is clearly the decisive victor. They're disabling ships and they're landing boarding parties. It's like quick flashes of efficient takedowns, capturing, executing captains, taking ships and commandeering them, and moving through like fleets one after another and just having domino effect after domino effect of victory. And this eventually cuts to the command ship with Admiral Trench on board, like directing movements and directing troops through everything. More efficient than any other general that the Necromongers have, reclaiming large swaths of the Empire for the Lord Marshal. There's him giving speeches to like recruits and newly absorbed soldiers. There's a lot of like chanting and cheering. There's iconography of the Lord Marshal and rituals going down. Like, this is still a death cult. And a lot of people, just, chanting for eternity, for the galaxy, for the universe, for the Lord Marshal. Trench is progressing in reclaiming the Necromonger horde from all its disparate factions. It then cuts to Maul. It's just straight up. The first image in this cut would be Maul in his outfit, like his cloak and stuff, walking up an ancient, broken down staircase with his, old robot legs clicking along. The architecture is spiked, like it's made of ferrofluid that's, been magnetized, so it has that kind of rolling liquid spikiness to it as he moves through it. And it looks like an ancient fossilized temple of some sort on an asteroid that still has an atmosphere because it's large enough to have attracted one for passing through a gas giant or something. And it's just him looking through, inspecting old technology, inspecting old pieces of like damaged ships and droids and computers, and he's looking for something. And then it cuts to Nelvaan. As your ship is coming to approach on in for the landing, the camera moves on into the planet itself. It's a lush. Wait, what did Nelvaan look like, Pete? Tell me about it.
Well, Nelvaan's, got high mountains and, dense fog below, I suppose. So it's, mostly like Himalayan-esque, I suppose.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah,
so It's that kind of, world, snow caps, large mountains, canyons everywhere. A lot of cities and structures built out of the side of things are built into the mountain. Signs of civilization are here. But as you're going in for a landing, the camera lingers past an area you fly over and goes down and goes into a cave in the side of a mountain where there is a black and silver flying saucer on little tripod landing gears sitting there waiting. And it goes inside one of the view screen windows, and Arton Moth, Killer Moth, has his feet up on a console with a pad in his hand, reading a book, basically, just hanging out. It looks like he's waiting to be the pilot for someone. And that is where we'll cut to Nelvaan itself. So, guys, we're ready to start coming together. Pete, where are we going to land?
Well, we're probably just landing on one of those, mountain passages, some sort of plateau somewhere higher up.
What is this?
Not like, go on.
Oh, no, yeah, one of those high-up landing platforms. I got you. Kind of like how Utapau had them, right? Looking over canyons.
Which one was Utapau?
Utapau was the planet where Obi-Wan fought General Grievous, and they had the Dracula people you almost were.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. What village do we land in? What city do we land by? Where are we going? Because you're pretty much deciding where we're heading, right?
I didn't have any names prepared.
Oh, no. You don't have to have a name. You just have to give us a description. Just give us a description of what it looks like.
Well, Nelvaanian people aren't like, that much of a tech-up society, so it's like, mostly just mountain villages. So, for us, it's just one indistinguishable from the other. So, kind of like pre-warp civilizations, mostly going on.
Yeah, I don't. Did you say they were shitholes?
Sorry?
What? I'm sorry. Did you say they were shitholes?
Shells? What?
Shells? I was trying to say what I didn't hear what you would call them. Like moving from one blank to another.
That's true. But yeah,
sorry,
like,
I didn't hear you right. My bad. But yeah, it sounds like they would have been like damaged and in trouble because the CIS had like conquered this place for a time being. So a lot of the villages they've been damaged by this, right? You're rebuilding.
Well, yeah. Their biggest problem was that the Techno Union moved in here, decided to house their labs and so on, doing their own gene experiments and so on. So they kidnapped a lot of the locals and mutated them.
Yes, the Skakoans and their horrific stuff. So you land by this village. It's in a mountain. It has a landing pad built because they know, to have landing pads for visitors. The Nelvaanian villages are getting more visitors as time goes on, as people kind of filter on in, and like helping to rebuild and helping to kind of restore like a sense of normalcy. So there are aliens among some of these villages now. The one that you land by is actually one that's popped up right near where the Skakoan Techno Union base was, because they used to live by there and had to be, moved when the Techno Union showed up and started shooting them and capturing them. So the Techno Union structure, which is like a large kind of scary-looking citadel growing out of the ground, is on the horizon and has been like partially dismantled and ripped down. But there is a, Nelvaanian village that has started to kind of grow up around the mountains overlooking it.
Yep.
So, Ian and Steph, it's been a hot minute since we talked to you two. Ian, the most, since you went first. The three of you are ready to disembark the Necrobore and head down to Nelvaan. So, who do you bring with you? What do you bring with you? And what do you want to see in this village?
I will be bringing both of my spider swarms.
Of course.
And of course. Again, if you don't remember, the hair on, like, the fur on my body constantly, like, crawls because hidden inside of it is just all the spiders in the world.
Amazing.
Yep. I'll bring both my spider hordes. And what do I want to see on Nelvaan? I think Sicarius' main goal is to help Shining Peak, because Shining Peak wants something here, and he's looking after his family and friends. So, yeah, Sicarius is just here to help in any way he can.
Okay. And 401km?
I'll take a couple of my droid entourage with me, and I'm pretty much in the same boat as Sicarius. I'm here to see Shining Peak's village and family, and see what I can do to help him.
Okay.
Help her.
All right. And Peter, same question for Shining Peaks. Who do they bring with them? And, what are they kind of here to see?
I guess I can just come in riding on my Zillow Beast.
Right. The baby Zillow
like a
Beast.
boss.
Right.
I guess, Bumbles the Wampa will also have some fun here, because this is kind of its climate.
All right, so yeah, the Wampa and the Zillow Beast. I'll probably also your Rancor. It probably should stretch its legs.
Sure thing. We'll take the Rancor, and should we take, Chet Satan, the giant killer?
You want to bring Chet Satan along? Oh my god.
I mean, were they like the ghost, or was someone else the ghost hand nemesis thing?
Chet Satan was the martial artist. The Ghost Hand Nemesis thing was Venom Ghost Hand, who you've met, but you haven't, haven't. She's not part of the party. She's not here.
Okay. Sure, so we can just take the various beasties along.
Okay. All right. So Pete, this village should be an atypical village that's kind of like recovering itself. As you're walking through it, what does it look like, and what are we seeing here now?
Well, you're seeing, first of all, the Nelvaanian people, and, a good half of them are giant ogres with some metallic bits, sticking out from their body, and so on, so on. As you have after those experiments for the Techno Union. And, I guess, instead of seeing the usual tents and so on, I guess you see more permanent architecture, maybe stuff scavenged from the, various ships and various other things that have been here earlier that, got dismantled and, I guess, repurposed now.
Okay. People come out to greet you, of course, as you're here, because, you're new people on a ship, and that looks like a Necromonger ship, and that's a statement. But when they see you come out, they're relieved. Like, oh, thank God, you're back.
Yep.
People come on out to gawk at the ship, to see you guys, to see what the party looks like as you all come off and walk on through. A lot of children and like some infirm that are like left kind of behind in the village to do maintenance and like try to keep stuff up and running with the labor they're able to do, while a lot of other people are just sort of heading out to do repairs or upkeep or find people that might be missing or find people that went on expeditions. It's very busy here, especially with the other travelers that are like landing and coming through and trying to bring supplies. It's almost like they're trying to establish trade, but just to get the things they need to sort of put this whole thing back together, because it's been a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So people approach you and talk to you and ask you about your adventures. They want you to explain what you've been doing. They want to hear everything.
Okay, sure. I update them on what's going on there about, I guess Necromonger horde and so on and so on. And yeah.
Okay. They've been having problems here. There's worries about spies from the Necromonger horde on the planet. They're worried about that they've been infiltrated. There's talk of like ghosts and hauntings and strange encounters and things being seen at night. And it started when strangers started showing up, and it's causing problems.
It's always the strangers. A familiar face is a friendly face. Something.
Right?
Everything's strange when you're a stranger. Do.
My God. So, this location, I'll let you know, is affected by paranoia syndrome. The people here are being afflicted with some sort of scourge or infection that's making them nervous and paranoid, and it's going to start escalating.
That'll be an issue.
Yeah. You're not allowed to make fellowship, and you can't recover here.
Well, that's good. We've already recovered recently.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys are here looking for the macrochlorian. Did I give you like precise coordinates?
I think you just told us on the planet somewhere. We can find
I'm going to
it.
assume I gave you better coordinates than nothing, so we could speed this shit along.
Sure, I think.
This area is where it should be, and basically the only major landmark is this is where like the Nelvaanians traditionally like built a village. There used to always be a village here, and the Techno Union built right over top of it, like directly over top of it with that citadel. And the coordinates would yeah, the only things noticeable in the sector, like the way plants are broken down to like hexes and sectors, this is the only thing in it. It's like straight dab in the middle of that intersection.
Well, I guess this one we're
Yeah. Sicarius or 41KM, do you have anything you want to do in this village? Do you want anyone you want to interact with? Kind of get any details about what might be going on? I think both Steph and Ian are BRB, so I'm going to hit the pause button, Pete.
Sure.
All right, and we're back. So, the three of you, now that you're here on Nelvaan, what are you up to?
Well, we need to get some more information about this place, and maybe some of the elders would know something about what we're looking for.
Absolutely. So this village, is this the village you were from, or is this just the village that was near the Skakoan project from the Clone Wars?
I guess it was just a village that was close to the Skakoan project.
So it's just not your village, though?
Yeah, I guess that would make it simpler.
Okay, like you could not be. I just want to know like how people viewed you. Like, are you known across the planet so they'd recognize you from being from far away, that sort of thing?
I mean, it could be.
It's up to your preference. I don't know. Either one is interesting to me. That's why I'm like leaving it up to you.
Sure, I guess I can be known.
All right, so you're well known. So yeah, the cultural leaders here, they manage different aspects of society, and how to allocate resources and take care of the sick and schedule things and just keep things running as best they can in the crisis they're in, and make sure they can take care of the Nelvaanians that were hurt by the Techno Union, and make sure that they get like a quality of life that's good for them. So they'll meet with you. Where do you want to meet? In their building, out in town square, maybe on a walk somewhere, on your ship to show them information? What do you think would be the best setup for them?
I guess I can just go to that, elder's hut, something like that, meet at their place.
Do you want to bring anyone else with you?
Council. Who'd like to come?
Yeah, who'd like to come?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, yeah.
Alrighty.
Sure.
So you go to where they'll meet with you. It's this is like a cave side place, so they've kind of dug this out into the side of the mountain. It's a large burrow. It's been reinforced on the inside with like wood and early metal smithing to kind of give it a little more stability in case of shelling, which has been a problem they've run into. It's just I think limestone's pretty sturdy, right? So I guess I'll say it's made of limestone, unless limestone's like the softest rock on the planet, and this is a death trap. But I remember limestone being pretty good. All right. I was just trying to be cool about knowing about rocks.
Sure.
On this planet, limestone is especially stable.
There we go. All right. And yeah, so it has that nice striation to it. It looks kind of like the Grand Canyon a bit. It's that style. And there's lighting on the inside that seems to be a combination of bioluminescent insects and bioluminescent plants that are kept inside terrariums that they string across the walls and filter and change out with water and stuff. Some of the members are old, some of them are younger, some of them are actually like the altered Nelvaanians, so they're the large kind of ogreish looking ones. And they welcome you to come sit with them. They have a fire going, they're cooking food, they offer you, food to have. And they just want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, so I'll present our case to them that we're in search of some ancient witness of darkness. I guess I'll just call it like that. And, I guess we'll talk about the giant aliens.
The giant aliens, there we go. They'll ask you more questions to get more specific, so we don't have to have you recap the entire last few sessions.
Yeah.
But one of the elders speaks up and goes, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a story about a presence coming to our world, infesting it, changing it, making the people on it different. And they said that it would eat entire villages whole, swallow them up, a sort of terror from the sky. And many of these villages, we only know about them because there was a witness that would come and tell us about them. They would share their stories and let us know where they were and let us know that they'd been cleared out and that the evil had been pushed back. And some of the things you're talking about, some of the symbolism matches that.
That is fortunate.
Well, this is the question phase. You guys are going to have to kind of ask questions and, I don't know, maybe even make, moves, because some of you are diplomats and some of you guys are, information finders, I think, to, piece together kind of where you guys need to be looking. Some of the other leaders, though, they're pushing forward that, maybe seeking out the Witness to Darkness is inauspicious, as the village itself is already going through problems. They already have a huge problem with invaders.
And, so Shining Peak thinks that this ancient story is related to the Macrocoolarian?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we know that, first of all, there's a ghost hunt in the galaxy. We also know that there's another wrong ghost hunt around here in the system. I was not talking about Mike, I guess. Gesticulating with the other arm. The wrong one.
Oh, yeah, they talk about Mike, and, they had an encounter a little while ago, like a couple weeks back, where one of the altered Nelvaanians, got really sick and really cold and passed away in his sleep. And he came back and he started attacking people and biting them and fighting them and stuff. And those people got really sick afterwards. And it's starting to cause problems where the altered Nelvaanians are being a bit shunned.
Yeah. So we're dealing with that, and from the giant aliens told us that, to deal with that, we'll need to find a witness to darkness.
Okay. They're on board with helping you, as much as they can. So throw questions at them. Throw interrogations. See if they can piece stuff together for you.
So before the Techno Union what was here?
An old village, very old. One of the oldest ones they know about. Like some of the leaders here aren't local; they came in from other villages that were just destroyed by the Techno Union and are trying to like make things right. So, using this area as kind of like the reclamation ground is sort of like an image thing. It's like it's sending a message, or it's sort of like a symbol of hope or a symbol of renewal, like going back to one of their oldest sites. But that village is notorious in history. Like there's talks of it being haunted, talks of it being visited by things from another world, talks of the sky falling onto it. Um, it goes back to the oldest legends they have about Nelvaan, and like some of your stories that are about villages being thrown into turmoil or calamity. A lot of them bear a lot of resemblance to like this village in its historical record, almost like those stories were like people passing down the legend of Atlantis.
Hmm.
And when the Techno Union
So
came, they wiped it out.
So yeah, that village does sound very auspicious for what we might be going for. And yeah.
They also mentioned that you're not the first. You're not the first special Nelvaanian to come through here recently.
Who was the other one?
A woman with a piece of metal jammed into her skull and a droid prosthetic arm, in like spacer battle armor, and she was Nelvaanian. Came through here, asked some of the same types of questions, and moved on to the Techno Union Fortress. She called herself Ghost Hand.
Is that the ghost hand that I met?
Yeah, punished Ghost Hand.
Yeah, I did meet her, so I don't think she found what she was looking for, or maybe she did, and that's why she left.
They never saw her leave. I don't know. She went
How long
into
ago?
the Techno Union ruins. She never came out.
How long ago was that?
Half a week.
So she's still potentially in there.
Oh.
There's a commotion outside. It's getting pretty loud.
Sicarius is gonna go check it out.
Some Nelvaanians have come back and are getting into a yelling match with some of the visitors, like some of just the aliens that have come from other planets to like be here. It's getting heated. It's getting heated, and it's looking like it's going to get physical. Like they're pushing each other back and forth and like getting each other's face.
Hey, whoa! Hold it there. What seems to be the problem here?
One of them is a Duro, which is like those gray-looking aliens. Another one's Nelvaanian. The Duro claims that the Nelvaanian just started like rifling through their things, and the Nelvaanian claims they saw them with a separatist communicator.
Whoa. Okay, well, this is pretty easy to solve. Show us your things and show you don't have a communicator, and we're done. And we can all go our separate ways.
I'm not showing you anything unless I see your chain code. If I gotta give something of mine up, you gotta give something of yours up.
Chain code?
A chain code in Star Wars is like your ID.
Oh, sure.
It just has a bunch of information packed into it about who you are. It helps verify your identity.
Sure, I'll show him my chain code.
He looks at it. He has like a communication cylinder on him that he like routes your chain code through to his ship. And he's like, "I'm not a separatist. He's a separatist. He's brothers with Admiral Trench." And everyone gets quiet outside. Like he makes this hollow emitter show up the Trench chain code and how you guys are related.
Yeah, that might not have been the best idea. So you see, sometimes when you work for money, you don't always work on the same side as people, and you just kind of have to accept that.
Someone shoots into the crowd. At you.
Who? That's fair. Yeah. I'm gonna tuck and roll.
I go outside when I hear shooting.
You see a blaster bolt from the crowd go through the crowd, miss Sicarius because he ducks out of the way, and hit that Nelvaanian square in the chest.
Oh boy.
Oh. Didn't realize he was behind me. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a problem.
You guys seem to have this handled here. I'm gonna go back in the tent.
All right, I'm going to.
Okay.
He's running.
I'm going to take out a first aid kit and see if I can do anything for the injured Nelvaanian.
So
Or
I'm
is
going
he
to point
just
out
DIA?
he could be savable, but someone opened fire into a crowd when a riot about separatists happened, and Sicarius jumped out of the way and let someone get shot in the stomach. And he's Admiral Trench's brother, and Admiral Trench is a famous separatist general who probably helped run the campaign to capture Nelvaan. Like, things are starting to escalate very quickly, Steph. You're a diplomat. Things are about to get real out of control real fast. Like, it is happening. Boy. You are in the car. You are in the car crash, Steph. The car is crashing.
Okay, I'm in the middle of an about to be riot. And the riot's gonna go lynch Sicarius. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I pull out the orb and put it over my head.
And
say in a loud voice.
I love the orb.
Well, thank God for the orb.
So great, right?
Default
and
air gear.
All right. And can I talk sense to a crowd?
The Jedi can talk sense to a crowd, I think. Let me see, because I think that's a move.
Is that like a special move?
I think it's a special power that Zevin has. Let me see. When you... Oh, it might not be. Speak clearly. Yeah, speak softly to a crowd. You can do it, which implies you might have a problem. You have to target probably one person at a time. So, Steph...
Air-breathing mermaid.
Air-breathing mermaid. So, Steph, my question to you is, this is a rowdy mass of people. How are you going to identify a way to kind of start to talk them down?
All right. Who shot the shot? Or can I identify them?
They're already starting to swarm. If you want to CSI that, you might want to look closely.
All right.
Ian, you're about to be plunged into a problem. Is there anything you want to be doing at this time?
I am definitely going to be doing something here. Give me 2 seconds.
All right.
I will be... I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep them busy so that Steph can look closely easier so they're focused on me instead of focusing on Steph.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
That's
a bad idea.
Ian does have a kit that enables him to get out of this with his moveset.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
maybe
I just want to keep them busy for like a minute or two while Steph kind of while Kim gets herself ready, and then once Kim's ready to go, I'm gonna just kind of move behind Kim and be like, yeah, see, I'm with them. That's what I mean. Sorry, not that I was taking their attention for a long time.
Well,
no, for sure.
You're the one that they're mad at. So
yes, which is why I figured I can take their attention for, the easiest.
That's
get
fair.
Their attention and
That's
then
fair.
Quickly be like, oh yes, here we go. This is a D6.
2d6, yeah.
2d6, yes, I knew that. Okay. I will be keeping them busy, and I'm gonna use a. I have a precious piece of silk, and I'm gonna give one of those. I'm gonna give it to Kim, and be like, "Here you go. Here's this for the diplomat." And I'm gonna, we should be building the city back up and helping out and something, stumbling over words as my character's like. Sicarius doesn't want to die here, because that would be bad. And that will be a 10. Okay. For keep them busy. So on a 7+, I buy some time, and their intention is all on me.
There is a bit of a hiccup here, Ian. because you are technically in the middle of a gang of people.
Okay.
Which means you can't
So
keep
do
them
I have
busy.
to roll?
No, you can't without creating a circumstance where you can do that. I think Peter has one of the powers that lets him keep an entire army busy. I don't know if he bought that yet.
I feel like the circumstance to keep this entire thing busy is the fact that they all want me dead.
That is so true.
All of their eyes are
so
on me already. So I'm just talking at them while their eyes are on me.
That makes sense. All right, what did you get for your keep them busy roll?
That was a 10.
Absolutely.
So,
all right.
Sicarius. Oh, go ahead.
No, tell me what you pick.
Sicarius is going to I keep them busy, and all their attention is on me for now. So while they're all looking at me, I'm going to start pulling out some like nice silk and stuff and be like, look, we shouldn't be focusing on anything other than the revival of the city right now and helping out those here. We can do stuff about, separatists and other things and the other problems later, but we should fix the city right now while we can, get it stronger, get everyone healthy. Like, there's things on this planet, and that's what myself and my comrades are here to do. We're here to help this planet and your people. My friend Shining Peak is just in the tent over there talking with some of the elders, and it's going really well. We're gonna do a lot of good here. See, I'm just slowly moving behind Kim and being like, here you go, Kim, here's the spotlight, here you go, ready, right. I'm passing the ball.
I rolled an 8 for look closely.
All right, you got questions
to figure out who shot the shot.
Okay, so you have 3 questions, and it's at 8, so you're going to learn one the hard way. So what are your 3 questions?
I just have one. Who shot the shot?
All right, but just maybe tee up
Thank you.
2 more just in case. Just in case you want elaboration. Because once you learn, aren't you going to want to know probably...
You're going to get shot as well.
Who shot the shot? Where is the guy who I was arguing with? Like, has he run away, or is he still there?
Oh, yeah, he's booking to his ship.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Are there any secret, separatists in here?
Yeah, after you kind of took over as the target of their ire, he bailed.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I would too, regardless of whether I was good or bad. Can't blame a guy.
Right?
Well, I'm just trying to keep him from, tearing Sicarius apart. That's my main goal right now. So
for your question of who shot, you were able to quickly check your memories to see if even passively you were observing the area when you were coming out right when it happened. And yeah, you got a pretty clear image of their face when they were turning to look at you as they were turning around to disperse into the crowd. It was some dead dude with one arm, and they looked like Mike.
Oh, God damn it.
He had a gun.
God damn it. That
Who gave him a gun?
Yeah, like you look at your memory file, and it's a very grainy crowd that's kind of going back and forth. And then when you focus on the sector where the gunfire came from, it like someone moves, and staring directly at you, smiling, is Mike with the gun in his hand. And someone moves in front of him, and he's gone.
All right. Then I just pick random person out of the crowd. You come here.
All right, they'll obey you.
What are you doing? Why are you in this mob?
And did you call it a Nelvaanian?
Yeah, I picked out a random Nelvaanian in the mob because I'm trying to, use him as an example.
The Separatists have infiltrated our city and are still here trying to take from us. They're just lying and covering for it. We have Admiral Trench's brother here. Didn't you come in with him?
Yes, I did, and I can tell you that he is not a separatist. While there might be separatists here, he is not one of them. And right now, you have bigger problems than the separatists. Aren't you trying to rebuild your city? whether or not they lie to you, whether or not they steal from you, you still have to provide for everyone around you and take care of them first, don't you?
He looks at you. He's like, we shouldn't divide each other. Yeah, guys, this isn't the way. This is. And then like someone turns around and they have like a stab wound on them, and they like just kind of like grab his shoulder and get their blood on him. And the second the blood touches the dude you're talking to, you see his eyes sort of change, and he looks at you and charges like a rage zombie.
Oh God, bloody hell! Okay.
Also, that person
things
that's
are going
bloody
downhill.
also starts charging someone like a rage zombie. The condition here is if anyone who's infected gets blood on them, they go into rage zombie mode.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be throwing a
There it is.
one of my webs at this guy who's charging, not the one charging Kim, but the one who touched the guy, the first rage zombie.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm throwing a web to catch them, and
Also, as a byline,
I believe it just does it.
As a byline, I might compact the remove corruption in with the Zelda dungeon we're going to do, so we could just make this problem here the adventure set piece for the night instead of going even further into a dungeon. By the way, I can make that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're already at an hour and 50
I think
minutes.
that. Yeah, I think we should wrap it up early tonight.
Absolutely. I got a little bit more to tell you after the session's over. That's kind of neat. All right, Peter. You are clearly hearing this. They're trying to get the info to help you. Things are starting to go south really fast, and you could probably save this with the rest of the other two party members. Do you want to inject yourself into the scene?
I mean, probably once people start screaming and, there's some blood-curdling zombie sounds, I guess, I'll have to excuse myself from this, meeting here and, go and just burst out of the door and start helping.
Okay. For getaway, Ian, what did you pick? Just to be sure you're not going to be tagged.
Oh, I didn't get away.
You kept him busy.
I was trapping them. I was
No, I meant
trapping.
before.
I was catching
That's fine.
the. Oh, before.
All right. Does that just work, the trap, or do you got to roll for it?
Yeah, it just works.
Excellent.
It only works when it's their scene, though. So because he was actively acting, I can just do it as long as I have the webs to spend.
Absolutely.
And now he is caught, so I've caught his leg or something, and he's now immobilized.
Okay,
and
perfect.
I can manipulate him as if he's a puppet.
Absolutely perfect. So yeah, you web that guy, Spider-Man style, the whip. He's rage zombieing and like trying to attack people and swipe at them and get his blood on them.
Yeah, I'm holding him away from people and being like, "Do not let him touch you. Please stay away from him. He's dangerous." Not that I think anyone is going to, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So Steph, remember how I said you were going to find out the hard way because of your look closely roll?
Yeah.
You're gonna get blindsided by one of those people who are stuck with paranoia syndrome for a damage as someone like tackles you into a wall.
Oof. Okay.
And like is clawing and scratching at you and biting at you.
Well, I brought some of my droids with me, so can I burn Watch Out on my bodyguard droid?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
Because you have that power, it makes you all powerful. You're one of the hardest characters to kill if you're using your air stuff, right?
In theory, yes. Or as long as I have enough guys, I'm really hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And then can I use my Starker droid to pounce on the guy who charged me and hold him down?
To hold them down and immobilize them, that would probably be a finish them to fully take them out of the scene so they're no longer a threat. So you got to get advantage and finish them.
Okay. So the Watch Out I'm burning to not take damage, right? I can do that.
Yep.
Okay. And then...
Hey, yeah, that's because you have Long Live the Queen. Your companions always take arms for you.
Yes.
And the Queen.
Let's see. see. Get an advantage to finish them. Then I will have my Stalker droid. What? Go ahead.
No, continue. I think you got it because you use bonds of servitude to make your companions give you an advantage. I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, I was gonna have my Stalker droid pounce on him to give me an advantage to finish him, rather
Absolutely
than pounce
perfect.
on him and immobilize him. Okay.
All right. What are you finishing them with? Because disabling them would be with your
Pin
sense
down.
stat. Yep, then that's with sense.
Well-
That'll do it.
Yeah. Sense stat is +2.
There you go.
Do I need to? Actually, I don't even have to roll for it.
Oh wait, do you have that air power where you're an unstoppable death machine?
Yes, basically.
If you could finish them in
That's
single
for
combat,
one-to-one duels.
which
So
is
strike
it-
true.
Oh no, your companion is there helping you.
Yeah.
Wait, no, this is finish them in
So-
single combat. Yeah, damn it.
Oh, in single combat.
Yeah,
You're right.
Good catch, Pete. So yeah, finish it with sense.
Okay. Oh, 7 + 2 is 9.
All right, they only have
Damage.
one stat, so yeah, you disable them. Like that person has been removed from the fight. All right.
Okay.
So that happened. You took care of that one. Ian, you're keeping it down. The two that went like rogue have basically been contained. Peter, you can arrive on scene while they're kind of getting a handle on them.
Okay, I arrive on scene. Is there anything else for me to clean up?
Yes, things are starting to get rowdy because the crowd is starting to gather up and argue with each other and push around. People are getting like pushed into walls so they get out of the way. At any moment, someone's going to draw blood, and anyone who is rage zombie infected is going to go off. So, Pete, you got to get this crowd calmed down.
Well, I do have a power to scare the lesser foes, and then the greater foes have to raise up to the challenge. Not sure that would help in this regard. I guess that would disperse the crowd and get Killer Mike out.
Yeah, you'd call them
But-
out.
Okay, so I guess I just pick up something heavy right here and just, start shouting for people to calm down and, disperse before I start
What,
tossing this thing around.
What power is this that you have to like make the weaks?
This is the part where you run away.
This is
When I make a show of force to scare them, I can take damage to send them running. Lesser foes will flee immediately, running for help, and greater foes will rise to your challenge and make show of force back against you.
I don't see it on your character sheet. Where is it? I've been looking for it.
Oh, that's new stuff. I don't think I've copied that.
Okay. That's why I'm totally fucking lost. Yeah. All right, take damage to send them running. So take damage to send them running, Pete, with your fucking regeneration,
damage
you
roll
monster.
wisdom.
You monster. All right, yeah, cool. Everyone disperses as you guys are handling the zombies. One of them's been disabled. Ian, you're going to have to take out that other one. They're not zombies, by the way. They're alive. They're just unfortunately rage virused. Don't kill them.
Okay.
That would be wrong. It would make you guys look
me
like
check here.
assholes.
Finishing them. So that's courage or anything other than blood, basically. Okay.
All right.
Let me roll courage. You wanted
Okay.
me to finish him, right?
Oh, yeah, if you can, go for it. Peter, the crowd disperses, and when they do, there's only one person left behind. It's that human that's clearly dead with one arm, and it's Mike. And he has a gun in his hand, and his cuts are always hard cuts that cannot be overcome, so he shoots you in the stomach with a blaster, smiling.
I guess I'll damage my grace. Oof.
And he starts approaching, like he hits the gun on his knee, and it cracks a little, and he starts opening fire, because it's on rapid fire now, smiling, starting to, like, jog up to you.
Perfect. I guess I'm just going to whistle and zigzag the Zillowbees will sense evil and just start pouncing on him on the side.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
I forgot
Oh, no.
about
Hungry.
I forgot that Zillowbees know what evil is. Zillowbees have two stats. Detect evil and kill evil.
The best 2 stats.
Like the Zillo Beast in the episode where it saw Palpatine was like, detect evil, burn a stat to kill evil, and try to get rid of him.
Perfect.
Okay, so what is Zigzag going to do?
Well, just going to like blindside him from the side. As he's just focused on me, and then suddenly a Zillo Beast appears from the side and starts, pouncing him down to the ground and snapping at him.
Sure.
There, he found one.
Mike is corrosive, which means your Zillo Beast has to pay a price to do something to him, which means you're paying a price. And wow, your Zillo Beast causes a lot of collateral damage, and isn't that a thing ogres can do automatically? Collateral damage is a price to be paid?
I'll cause some collateral damage.
Okay, so the Zillo Beast, you guys are outside. The Zillo Beast doesn't just like start attacking Killer Mike. The Zillo Beast leaping like body slams where he is, and like starts smashing its arms and its head that are all armor plated and kind of indestructible into the ground and like waylaying around like a kaiju. It's a baby. It's still ripping up the ground and destroying buildings nearby and throwing earth up into the air, and it's just keeping smashing where Mike was trying to get him. So now that that's out of the way, Pete, what are you doing to Mike?
Does anyone have some good sense to disable them so we can, capture Mike? Because I could kill him easy, but that would mean he'd just come back. Whereas if we have him contained, that might be
I can
easier.
catch him again with my webs.
But we need to finish him to, get rid of him as a problem without, I guess, killing him.
So finish him without blood, basically? What do you want to finish him? You want to finish him on grace? Or on... Oh, wait, sense, yeah, they're physically incapacitated.
This is an interesting problem, because, like, if you kill him and he comes back, yeah, but you actually want to Terrifier or overwhelm him or force him to retreat. No, you want to force him to retreat, because he physically won't come back. If you kill Bob, or if you kill Mike, Mike comes back. If you force him to retreat, he'll back the fuck off.
Okay, I can roll with courage. I got +3 courage.
You actually have to overpower him. You have to do what Thanos does to the Hulk and demoralize him in defeat.
So, okay. I guess I'll just, take my, mighty fist and just jump into that, frail and start just punching him until he, stops moving.
Go for it. So while that's happening, Steph, what is 401KM doing? Because that zombie's been taken care of, and your soldier robots, like your droid brethren, they have built up a shield wall around you, and they're getting ready to get crazy if people are trying to come for you.
Well, I'm actually trying to keep people here from to start shooing people away from the Zillo Beast and get them out of the way.
I'm going to point out, Steph, that Zillo Beast, every time it roars, makes the stock Godzilla roar sound effect.
So people are probably running away anyway.
There's something about that frequency of sound that makes everyone know instinctively to recoil and make their nervous system flee.
All right. So people are smart enough to get away on their own.
But some people aren't going to be able to.
So I don't need to worry about them.
There's a lot of people who are infirm and are like injured or like recovering that can't get away fast enough. There are people in danger right now, Steph. And you're a noble person.
Okay.
You can save them with your economic superiority.
No.
I was thinking about the rich guy from
Batman.
Disco Elysium.
Or Batman.
Guy.
I was just going to say, Batman just built better orphanages.
You meet an ultra wealthy in Disco Elysium in a shipping container, because he uses shipping containers to go everywhere, because that way people don't notice he's ultra wealthy. And the density of his net wealth is so greater than yours that it actually bends light around his face, because that's how valuable he is. That's a real thing in the game, Steph. You got to play it.
That's amazing. But no, I use my bodyguard robots to start trying to, push people out of the way and get those that can't that are being trampled basically, and pick them up and try to get them to safety.
All right, roll getaway.
Okay.
With grace.
With grace. Okay. Ooh. What's my grace?
All right. While that's happening, Pete, what was the result of that roll you had where you and the Zillow Beast were tag teaming?
I rolled a 9.
I mean, that's a damage. That works. Damage is damage,
Yep.
Pete.
Yep.
I gotta go to the threat for Mike. Sorry, I don't have it anywhere for you right now. But right now, Mike is inhabiting a warmonger, and because they're the corrosion, like the corrupted. The corrupted is just take a stat block and replace one stat with the corrosive touch stat. And the warmonger is one of those stats that has a weakness stat, so it just replaced the weakness with corrosive touch, which is a legal thing you can do and a big fucking nightmare.
Fun.
So welcome to your
fun.
tape. This is Killer Mike in the Warmonger body. He is unstoppable, he has corrosive touch, and he is tough as nails. So the first time the Warmonger would be damaged or destroyed, damaged is dead. So tough as nails is damaged. And Pete, you punched him, right?
Yeah. I take a damage, but also So, pay a price. Pay a price. Okay, let me go to the price, and I'll take a damage. And also I heal damage because I'm a swamp ogre.
You live in the swamp. Okay.
Get out of my swamps.
Get out of my swamps. Okay, Mike is going to keep this real simple. He is going to kick you back with one foot, get behind an Nelvaan, gain away with the other, wrap their leg around their inner leg, and put a gun to their head, facing his own head.
Okay.
And he's just staring you down. So his hard cut is... Yeah, there's a hard cut coming. The hard cut coming is that he is taken a hostage. What's the worst scenario for this?
I mean, hard cut isn't coming. Hard cut is.
Hard cut is. He is going to scare you into standing down. Is that okay with you? If not, I can do something else.
I mean, you can do that, I guess.
How about that represents How about that represents you being in despair because he rattled you by like taking a hostage so quickly?
Okay. Also, would you say that this constitutes stuff like talk sense, speak softly, or any other move or threat that involves trying to speak or placate me?
Ooh.
Or is it just do?
Oh. Yeah, he is trying to placate you. Like he's trying to demoralize you. Does that count?
Well, yeah. I guess if he's using words, then that would count because that will trigger one of my things.
Mike isn't the talker. Bob's the talker. Even though Mike does talk, Bob is the one that that's his tagline. The one that talks. Mike is the one with. So Mike's being nonverbal today.
Damn, I cannot use my I love peace and quiet.
I'm sorry. But I'll keep that in mind. I'm going to keep that in mind for future sale-ups. I'll send Bob next time, because Bob also insults, and that helps Steph. I just picked the wrong one from the list today.
It's okay.
I will keep that in mind, though. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to give you just spares the hard cut. That's my hard cut to you. I'm going to now cut to Ian, because he hasn't had a chance to do something in a hot minute. Ian, what's up?
Okay. I rolled a 12 to disable that guy who was in my web.
Then he's disabled. He is done. The two rage-infected paranoia syndrome victims, they're taken out. They're not going to spread anymore. Got to watch out, though. People who are infected, if they get someone else's blood on them, that's going to escalate. You'll have another rage victim to deal with.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be moving people out of danger, because you said they're sick and infirmed and people who need to get out of this area. I'm really good at moving people. I am multidextrous, wall walking, and can carry multiple people. So, yeah, I'm going to move everybody I can out of the way while also trying to keep an eye out for anyone who is rage infected.
Hey, Steph, what did you get?
I will be...
Oh, sorry. I want to tag off of that. What did you get on your getaway?
Yeah.
9 plus my grace is 11.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. So that means you can pick 2, which is going to be, grab someone nearby and bring them with you. So I figure you can funnel people to Ian who can Spider-Man them away, which means, Ian, you guys are going to be efficient at that and wrap it up real quick because, Steph and her group are also really good at this. and I'm going to pivot your issue
Yep.
that I'm going to send up at you now that you've dealt with that infected to a building's about to collapse, and it's full of like people that are like bedridden.
Ah!
What do you do, Spider-Man?
Okay. So I
This is a
am
threat.
going
It's
to.
called- This is a threat. It's called collapsing building. It has 2 steps.
Ooh.
It has 2 stats: unstable and precious cargo inside. If you damage precious cargo inside, there's no one inside. But be careful how you damage it, because that can do so many things.
Okay. Let me. Ooh.
I'll let you meditate on
Um,
that, and I'm going to pivot back to Peter, who's
Yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with Mike right now in despair. Steph, you've moved people out of the way with the result of your move. That's great.
Okay.
Do you want to get involved in the Mike business?
Well, disabling Mike without killing him.
You could do that by one-on-oneing him.
Actually, I could. But how can I do that when there's a Zillow beast in between me and him?
Run up and engage Mike 1-to-1 and have Peter pull the Zillow Beast back.
All right. I motion at Peter to get the Zillow beast out of the way, and I'll run up and punch him with the orb.
You know what? You don't actually have to tell the Zillow Beast Dick. The Zillow Beast is a paladin. It picks you up and places you in front of Mike. Pete, are you okay with this? It won't do this if you're not okay with it.
Sure thing.
All right.
Sure thing.
So yeah, the Zillow Beast just grabs you like a Godzilla can with those just angry eyes. It looks like an angry creature, like a furious creature. Not at you, but it's furious. So it grabs you and it slams you down in front of Mike, and it gestures, like it puts its hand up as a shield wall against you, Pete, to kind of like help you not get shot if Mike decides to be a bastard. So, Steph, it's you and Mike.
I smack him in the face with my orb. I've been wanting to try this for a while.
All right. You use the orb. Mike's gone. I'm gonna give you that an auto success.
Okay.
He was already badly damaged. You don't even have to use your
Exercised.
super arrow stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
okay.
camera
Well,
flash, and the dead body that Mike was puppeting, like the deadite he is, collapses to the ground in a lump of wasted potential and destroyed relationships.
Well, that was easier than I expected.
Somebody knows a secret now.
And I will help the Nelvaanian he took hostage and check to make sure that they're okay.
She is shaken up, but okay, because you guys didn't attack Mike, so he didn't bleed on her, and she didn't go into rage mode.
Whew. Okay. Good.
It's hard for Mike
Now
to
we just
bleed
need to
because
roll
his
them.
bodies are dead.
Right.
Now we just need to roll that ball onto everybody to exercise the demons out of them.
Yeah,
get dumped.
actually. Guys, to be perfectly serious, Steph, if you started, like, ritualistically ministrating people's presence to the orb, you'd be really making a lot of headway with dealing with some of this bullshit.
Okay.
I keep saying
All
yours
right.
important.
Just have them on a stick and so on and so on.
Well,
But we're gonna.
on the other
we're gonna
hand,
smash back to
we
Ian,
have a
who's
collapsing-
dealing with a crisis. Oh, sorry, Steph.
we have a collapsing building, and we also have a Zillow beast.
Oh,
What's
you
wrong
gotta
with
be
this little
careful.
beast?
The Zillow Beast is
Oh,
like
that's
Peter.
true. That's true. That's true.
The-
He smashes more than a delicate. He's not a delicate instrument.
Show me one clip of Godzilla fixing a building. Godzilla's been around for 100 years. Show me one clip.
Well, if you play it in reverse,
If you play Dark City in reverse, it's about a guy waking up in the bathtub from a really weird dream. If you play The Matrix in reverse, it's about, what was his name? His name was William Anderson or something, or like John Anderson or whatever. It's about him sleeping on the job. All right.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're gonna smash back to Ian saving the building. Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to do that we want to set up right while we're getting to Ian?
That's fine. I guess I could be helping the building eventually, but let's not take away the spotlight from Ian.
Okay, Ian, we're gonna go straight to you then. Building's coming down. What are you gonna do to fix it with the people you brought with you and yourself, and just the endless amounts
Okay, I have.
of weapons?
I do have my bugs with the swarm stat. I have
Okay.
2 sets of bugs with swarm.
So you want to send them in the building so they'll
So-
entomb the victims in a silk cocoon, in a cocoon of silk.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
So I have
joke,
to
but all right.
damage just.
No, yeah.
I mean, not
damage
no.
damage their swarm stat, and that'll let you they'll rush in and they'll start entombing the victims in silk and making one connecting line, or damage the swarm stat and they'll start supporting the structure of the building with spider silk and building an elastic kind of tether,
Yeah. Okay, I'll damage
which will
both
give you
of my
advantage
swarms.
to finish the building.
Do I need to damage both or just one?
Just one. Only one is what you need to get advantage.
one?
So.
Okay.
I feel like you're going to finish this building with wisdom to show it the error of its ways and collapsing on these people.
Oh boy, my wisdom's damaged right now.
Oh boy,
All right,
that's spare.
All right, well, you're not going to kill it with blood. You're not going to force it to retreat with courage. You could, I guess, be outsmarting it or overwhelming the collapsing building so it can't crush the people below. I don't think you can knock out the collapsing building or disable it. You can't disable it from not collapsing. But maybe Grace. Would Grace do you better?
No, wait, actually. Wait. Sense? I could stop it from collapsing with all my webs. Potentially. Right?
Well, this is the finish.
Yeah.
This is the finish them, and I think it's Grace or Wisdom to damage it.
Okay. Then it's going to be Grace, because I don't have Wisdom. Okay. Ooh, that was lucky. That's a 10. That
Holy
was
God Almighty!
Double 5s. That was I was not anticipating that.
You outsmart the collapsing building. You outsmarted and get ahead of it, and you and your spiders work together to whip up all the support structures for it and make little packs of spider webbing that become new beams, and you drag the people out on silk stretchers. You turn around and the whole building collapses in on itself after everyone's saved.
Oh, okay.
You slew that building.
Good job, Ian.
Sicarius is just panting, just okay. That was too much.
An Nelvaanian, the Republican, who didn't stay on the ship because you guys keep forgetting that he doesn't listen, walks up to you and the robot arm gives you an orange.
I take it and just start peeling it and slowly eating it. Just you know that dead inside expression, that glassed over eyes of what the heck just happened. That's Sicarius right now. He's just slowly eating that orange. Okay, I went out there to help people, and they realized who my brother was, and it just escalated. And oh boy.
Yeah, that was a bit much. I think the crisis has passed, unless you guys can think of anything else you might want to clear up here. But I feel like the danger has come to a close.
Well, since Sicarius has taken care of the people in the building, and I just discovered my orb can do cool stuff, I'll go over and touch it to the forehead of one of the rage zombies and see what happens.
Oh, instantly fixed. Instantly they go back to normal. Instantly.
Wow! Neat! Alright. Then I start going around to the different rage zombies, gently touching them with the orb.
It works on people who aren't even rage zombies. Some of the people that are paranoid and angry at you immediately are oh my God, what came over me? I'm so sorry for treating you like that. That's not me. Everyone in the village is like this. Everyone in the village reacts to being touched by the orb by becoming better, more agreeable, and less hostile. Everyone. They all were infected, Steph.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
The Republican walks up to you, by the way, Steph. His helmet's on because, he drips and goos everywhere when it's not on because he's full of liquid.
Right.
And he's like, thanks for sending that message, by the way. I guess we should probably head into that facility because it's causing the problem, right? That's what you said on the intercom.
I cock my head at him. I sent you a message. What did the message say?
You said to come out here and help you guys because this place is going weird and we have to go into the... what is that building? You said we have to go into that building. You said it looked like that. And it was causing this village to go squirrely.
Oh dear. I think you mean the Techno-Tribe facility. That place has had some bad things happen from there, but I suppose that we should go check it out.
Yeah, I know. You said exactly that to me over the comm system in the ship.
All right. Well, wait here for a minute, and I will go talk to the others.
I absolutely will do that. He follows you when you start walking, and his robot hand grabs him by the collar and starts to, force him back, slap him in the helmet a bit. Give you a thumbs up.
I go over. I give him a thumbs up back. And I go over to Sicarius and Shiny Peak and check to make sure that they're okay.
The definition of okay is loose. He's physically okay, but that rattled him a little bit.
Sicarius is a bit shaken. I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Sicarius, a lot of the people are a lot nicer to you now and very apologetic about that. They understand that you don't choose family and are responsible for the decisions of them. They're real sorry about how all that went down.
Hey guys, we saw the racism with Pepsi.
No, this village is legitimately full of understanding people, and they're being infected by a paranoia virus. Come on.
And the orb is helping against that. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's good. Yeah, Sicarius is just as people come up to him, he's like, it's okay, I understand, it's fine, it's okay. Yep, no problem.
I gently pat Sicarius and maybe guide him to sit down for a minute.
Yeah, definitely gonna sit down.
Meanwhile, Shiny Peak with her knuckles all still, bloodied and, burned from punching their mic is just healing up the Zelo piece with her, shiny light thing. Because it also took damage.
Yeah, it did.
Full strength. Whoop, 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 whoop.
The Zelo Beast and the Rancor are the best thing you have as companions, but they're so fucking big, Peter. They can't go anywhere.
That's the point, Evan.
I know, it's fantastic. These big open areas are great. You got to get the giant demon bat from Dathomir. There's a giant demon bat. It's amazing. You can ride on it. It's so big.
I think they pick some Sarlacc. That would be very useful.
Bat Squatch.
Sarlaccs are more like pitcher plants, I think. It's like having a cool house plant, unless you gave it robot legs, like spider legs.
Gigantic robot legs.
Or a crate dragon, because those are fun, and we know what they look like finally. Thank you, Disney.
But there are so many different versions of its sound now that it's so nice.
I mean, just make it look like a dune worm. Come on, don't be a coward. It's just a dune worm. I hate the new dune worm look. Their mouths are too furry on the inside with all that worm mouth. I like it when they have big, hard, dumb beaks. That's what a real dune worm is. Hashtag not my dune worm. Anyway, they gather the body of the guy that was shot by Mike. They're going to set up a funeral. They're very quickly. They have had a lot of this goddamn stuff to deal with over the last couple of years of being occupied and recovering from it. Wait a minute, Peter. If this is Nelvaan, this implies that Ben Kenobi and Anakin have been here because that happened.
Yes.
Jesus, everything is happening in the Strait of Messina. Whoops.
Yep.
We've made a weird folklore of Star Wars where all these kind of weird things Anakin was up to mattered.
I mean, remember how he has those tattoos on him all the time?
Right. But like this implies that when Anakin left this area, there was a bigger story happening. Like he intersected with the ghost hand thing. He wasn't involved in the ghost hand thing. Like it wasn't really about him.
Yeah. No.
That's an interesting spin that's happened. Anyway, so yeah, the village is getting itself back together, but it's clear that this is coming from the Techno Union. The Techno Union left something behind. You guys can piece this together. You've been working against the Clone Wars, like in the Clone Wars, for however long it's been running. This is clearly a Black Ops site. Oh, shit. If you ask Toro and Rudor about it, they know about this mission. No, wait, they don't.
Oh.
They were here at the beginning of the Clone Wars. They didn't know that Anakin and Obi-Wan were here. They missed them.
Oopsie.
Oops a fucking daisy. Yeah, all right.
Well,
Seven has this information. This is something Holden knows about. He would have gotten the update about the time Anakin found that Techno Union plant and like they were mutating people and stuff. And the archives would have information about the ghost hand thing because it was a Force cult. Yeah, Holden knows about this.
Boy.
Oh boy.
So, Anakin just casually strolled the Mordor and strolled back, and everything was fine.
Yeah. Anakin came in and out of the Strait of Messina and just totally missed all of this. They were doing something different at the time. They were on a priority mission and went in blind.
Yeah.
That's
They had to get back
hilarious.
to the war. And also, there were already 2 Jedi assigned here, so they weren't going to stay and clean things up. They're like, look, we already got Jedi here. We got to go.
Yeah.
Shit. All right, that's canon. I'm keeping that.
Oh, I can't even.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to assume you guys tell Zevin about this because Zevin was on the ship. Maybe he had to do something because Holden couldn't make it, obviously. So I'm going to assume that once you guys piece together the details, you'll be like, oh my god, there's probably something left behind in the base that's doing this. We got to check it out. Also, the Republican knows about it because the Republicans just like that.
Right.
Oh, if you guys want to poke that thread or pull on that thread, the communication he got to his suit was bounced through the ship from somewhere under that tower. Like, not part of the tower, and it was on an old Republic frequency. Like, on the same frequency his suit's on.
So the Republican actually got a message and wasn't just hallucinating things like he usually
he most definitely was hallucinating. You play back the signal, it's empty white noise.
Huh.
He most definitely was hallucinating, Steph. Most definitely. But always a kernel of truth with that one. The Republican is essentially 100% inland empire at all times from Disco Elysium. He's wrong. He's wrong, but not in the way you expect.
All right.
Yeah, so if you pull on that thread, you'll learn that information. Do you want to learn that information?
Sure.
All right, he got a ghost signal. If you check his suit out and plug wires into it and grab the onboard computer from the comm system, it matches not only his chain code authorization as whatever his suit is made out of or whatever it was programmed with in the Old Republic. He has authorization to be on that channel because he has rank on the vessel that is buried underneath that facility.
Oh my.
It's Old Republic, and it's called the Proteus. And it's reaching out to him because he has authorization to it.
Well, perhaps we should go clear that up in the next episode.
So yeah, there's the lowdown. There's your thread. There's a bunch of disturbing info. You're not going to be going into the Proteus right away. There's the facility just above it that you'll have to go through first to get down to it, which now that you understand there's a ship under the Skakoan research facility, that's why they built it there.
And that's probably where a lot of the old legends the Nelvaanian legends come from.
Yeah, back when there was a village there. Also, who's to say that the Nelvanian tech to make the Skakoan project to turn Nelvanians into super soldiers didn't come from stuff they unearthed from the old ship? All of these things, like, this would have been surprising to you if this was like the first few episodes, but now that you're used to the idea that things are happening for a reason and everything is connected and nothing is by coincidence and God is a lie, you quickly are able to workshop with the rest of your companions the pattern here. It's like, oh God, the Techno Union and the CIS built a research facility on an ancient Republic ship they didn't understand. And if it's from the Republican, that means it's tied in to the original Ghost Hand.
Bum, bum,
Which means this might have Mike and Bob shit on it.
It might also have the macrochlorian on it.
Yeah, what about that, right? Uh-oh.
Or maybe the Corollian is even deeper than that.
Yeah. So you guys are all quickly able to iterate and group think this together and be like, oh, this is the most likely scenario. Yeah. And also, like, 3 or 4 of you are magic and half god. So I'm going to say you can quickly put this thesis together and give you the lowdown on what the bare bones are. Your skills and your specialization are high enough that you can just have this info.
Okay.
You're professionals. So we're going to wrap this episode. The setup here is you can't build fellowship with these people because they still have paranoia syndrome. You have to cure that. That is in the Skakoan facility, which is your next target. And underneath is a ancient Old Republic ship, the Proteus, which was a research vessel that was part of the Ghost Hand. So, your objectives are clear. Go through the Skakoan facility, get into the Proteus, find the macrochlorian, and achieve your destiny, Shining Peaks.
Woo!
Woo!
And once that happens, you'll also earn fellowship with the Nelvaanians.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, next session, you're going to encounter the Zelda dungeon, which is one of the most iconic Fellowship set pieces. It's in Book 4, and it's like the most... It is the most set piece of any set piece. It's amazing. And all of you guys are involved in the construction progress of it because it fully generates and simulates a Zelda dungeon. Like, all of the tropes and finding items and rooms and having to, Metrovania backtrack and have a sub-boss and a master boss, that's all there. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build the Zelda dungeon, not in this episode, obviously, and then we're going to do an episode to describe how the dungeon is built. That'll be the next episode I think the listeners will hear, and then after that, it'll be the actual episode going on into it. So everyone, including the listeners, has the opportunity to know as much about the dungeon as possible before going in to know what to expect. With some things won't be there. I control some aspects of it that you don't get to know about.
It's fair.
Yeah, well, it's so cool. I can't just believe how cool the set piece it is. I wish there were 5 or 6 more of them. It would be the extra, polish on top of an already really polished game. It's so imaginative and so well done.
Awesome. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we'll crack it open after this just to give a quick overview, and then we'll see from there. Okay. I was Devin.
I was Stephanie.
Peter.
And Ian.
And this is sponsored by Nobody. Signing off. All right.